Hello everyone, my name is Paige Gwynn. I am the owner and director of Dance Tech in Blacksburg, Virginia, and I'm here today to share all of our updates for our 2025 through 2026 PAC season. So that's our performing arts company, and we have been around for, this will be our 27th season we're going into. I have been with the studio for 16 so far, but it will be my 17th season. Started teaching the littles classes, then moved into olders classes, choreography, becoming director of the competition team, now own the studio. But the reason I include that is to just highlight that we have done this a lot. There have been several iterations of our policies and plans for the year, and each time we tweak a few more things to better accommodate our families, the students, the parents, the faculty members, the choreographers. So we're really excited about some of the updates we made this season, and I wanted to share those with you. So these are our priorities for 25 to 2026. So first, we wanted to make sure that we had more inclusive or consistent pricing throughout the year. So instead of paying a la carte, an entry fee here, a costume there, a rehearsal fee here, we've done the math, we've run the numbers, we have come up with an inclusive price of what it's going to look like for the whole season. So you can choose to pay that in full or split it up monthly. The second thing we really wanted to prioritize is quality in our routines versus overextending dancers with too many dances. We really strongly believe that you can train in multiple styles without competing in every single style. So we've kind of streamlined that process a little bit. And hopefully it helps you parents out, because your dancers don't have the choice to be begging you to compete in every single style this year. So we're really excited about that. Of course, we've released our proposed fall schedule. This is the grid side and then listed by age level, but you'll notice that it doesn't have any specific rehearsals on here right now because we don't know the dances that we're gonna do yet. So there are blocks at the beginning and end of every day where rehearsals are gonna be built into the schedule once we see who is on the team and we build those routines. All right, the next priority we had was when looking at the schedule and our requirements to reduce the number of days that people had to leave school early or skip school. So, of course, there are several optional events where they start early on a Friday, but one of the factors that comes into play when you live in Southwest Virginia is that no matter where we're going, there's pretty much a drive. So even if it starts at 4 p.m. on a Friday, we're having to leave several hours before that. So when we're putting together our required event schedule this year, we're really doing our best to eliminate those weekday, weeknight events where people would have to leave school early. And then last but not least, we're really working to make our information even more clear. I think we add a new level of explanation every single year. So there's less room for interpretation or questions as the season goes on. And something that you're really going to notice when you scan the QR code on the contract, and I printed out all the questions for the online contract, we have reiterated everything to the nth degree. So we're really hopeful and excited that it explains more than you would ever even want to know about our plans for this season. So let's get right to it. This is my handbook with my notes all over it, so bear with me. But remember, paper copies are available now and digital copies are available online. It kind of covers everything you need to know for the whole year, starting with what in the world is a performing arts company and why should your kiddo do it? Speaking as someone that has been a part of the dance world for 30 years and the competition dance world for 28 years, I can say that joining a team and being part of that community is the first major benefit. The second is your return on your investment. So if you think about in a normal dance class situation, your kiddo comes to class week after week, they work so hard, they gain new skills, they're challenged, they feel triumphant, some days they're exhausted, and they're all working towards the end of the semester where you may get to do the Nutcracker, or the end of the year where you have your spring recital. The benefit of the performing arts company, and whether it's a basketball game or a competition or an extra recital or performing at a nursing home, you're getting that joy, the thrill, the spark that lights your fire so much more often throughout the season, because that's the point. It's a performance company. You get the opportunity to do more performances. So that's why it's not required once you try it for a year to continue, but most people do because they just see so much value in it and love that feeling of getting to do what your jam is all the time. So we kind of think of 4 areas when we talk about our performing arts company. And one is accelerated training. So at Dance Tech, we do not split up our technique classes between PAC and non-PAC dancers. Everyone is in the same technique classes. But what we do is put an extra emphasis on holding dancers accountable and challenging them a little bit more if they have chosen to be part of the PAC team. So you will notice that your dancer is getting a lot more feedback in class and held to a little bit of a higher standard. A second thing is additional learning opportunities. So the first thing that comes to mind and that's listed here is that feedback from judges' critiques at competitions. But regardless of that, dancers have the opportunity to go to conventions. They have the opportunity to go to these other events where they're exposed to different parts of the performance industry that they might not have known existed, and kind of see all the different avenues where you can be creative and have the opportunity to work in the dance world. Of course, expanded performance opportunities, and last but not least, a community like a family. So those are the highlights there, and I put a few quotes from our parents that are current PAC members excuse me, to just kind of highlight it. So I'm gonna try to do this all in one take, so pardon me if I have to take a sip of my beverage or something like that. Okay, so here we go. We are on page 3, and this is talking about our performing arts company. You've heard the word PAC. It's a lot easier to say than performing arts company, so we say PAC quite often. And this is open to all numbered level dancers, so levels 1 through level 9. If you're in level 2, you must audition for placement. Level 1, you do not need to audition for placement. But I will say and reiterate that when I'm saying for placement, that means your level. We do not cut anyone from our performing arts company. If you want to be a part of it, you are a part of it. Minimum class requirements for PAC members are ballet, jazz, and 1 optional style. So most people, if your kiddo loves to dance, you're already in that. So there's not a huge additional class commitment there. But what you do get to be a part of is our full company production routine. So it's levels 1 through 9, 50 kids out there on the stage, on the basketball court, all coming together to perform one massive routine together. It's performed a minimum of 6 times. So you'll see this is all written here. So these are the 6 times. Our company concert, that's our specific performing arts company recital that happens in February or January at the beginning of 2026. So you get to perform it at the company concert. We're gonna do 1 Roanoke competition. It's called World Class Talent Experience, and we have grown to love that company. It's very well run, very positive, and I think a little warm and fuzzy. I know our seniors were like, you could never take that off the schedule. We've been doing it our whole lives. So we're excited to share that experience with everyone this year. We'll do a Virginia Tech basketball game, a Radford basketball game, and an NBA game. And when we're talking about different performance opportunities, yes, those are all basketball, but wow, the environment could not be more different, from things like how you get your tickets to the back area where you get to see, the weight room and the practice area and staff members, and just everything about it is so different. Even though it's 3 basketball games, they are 3 entirely different experiences. And then our spring recital. So you're doing that full company production routine 6 times. Question that we get often, and it's right here on the page: are there additional fees associated with being a member of PAC? So this is a little bit different than in years past. We want to make it as easy as possible to get that entry level in and see if you enjoy it before adding on more. So yes, there are additional fees, but they're extremely minimal. There's no rehearsal fee for that production. You'll notice on this grid schedule, there are built-in it says like private lessons and rehearsals at the beginning and ending of each day. So we'll build your levels production rehearsal into the week, but you do not pay any extra money for that. You're paying for your costume, and then you're paying for your entry fee and faculty travel fee for that competition in Roanoke. So very minimal, $210 for the season. And we think that's pretty awesome. Great way to get your foot in the door. You're not spending too much extra time, too much extra money. It's mainly those 6 performances. Now, things that cost that should be taken into consideration that we kind of aren't in charge of. There is no admission for competition events, so that's pretty awesome. If you are someone that has paid to enter so many tournaments for other sports, that's like a little bonus for dance. Tickets for dancers are complimentary at our local basketball games. They are not complimentary for fans. And then, of course, NBA game, we do have to buy tickets for that. And then if you are a returning dancer, let me grab one of these. You will see, oh, I'm doing an ab workout over here. On our cover page from our placement thing, we detailed the summer membership requirements and fees for PAC members. So yes, dance is a year-long sport, and our summer is different than our year-long rigor. We really, really encourage people to explore other options and try other things that kind of enhance and supplement their dance training, but there is dance training expected over the summer. The biggest way I can explain it is if you're someone as an adult that works out at the gym, if you take off for 2 to 3 months, you're coming back into the gym at a very, very different place than where you left it. So that's why it's important for us, for dancers, to continue to train over the summer so that they are ready to hit the ground running in August. Okay, so that's PAC. That's it. It's very simple. You're gonna fill in your contract and your form. You're gonna sign up for your classes. You're gonna pay your $210. You're gonna learn your production routine and perform it. Easy peasy. Now, Power Pack, so our optional travel company, is the add-on where things get a little more exciting and a little bit more expensive, and a little bit more opportunity. So it kind of is all rolled into one, but we're calling it Power Pack this year, and this is open to dancers in levels 2 and up. So level 1 dancers, we don't feel are quite ready for this yet. You might need a year of the regular pack team before you're ready to join our Power Pack. But we've kind of split it into 3 classifications. So level 2 and 3 are our petite Power Pack. Levels 4, 5, and 6 are junior Power Pack members. And then level 7, 8, and 9 are teen and senior Power Pack members. And of course, you can be placed in different levels and different styles because we really do believe in individualized class enrollment and routine placement. But it's most likely going to be within your grouping. So petite, junior, teen, and senior. So we're here. It's broken down. Our monthly tuition is billed on the first of the month. This is the price for level 2 and 3 is $136. It includes ballet, jazz, and 1 optional style. Level 4, 5, and 6, $210 a month, ballet, jazz, and 2 optional styles. Level 7, 8, and 9, $226 a month, ballet, contemporary, jazz, and 1 optional style. So we have it really spelled out for you, and it's retyped again later and even more clear and separated out. So your monthly tuition for PAC covers your required things. Now, you do have the option to add more, and if you're in Power Pack, you get a 50% discount on any extra classes that you add. So it's listed here. Instead of if you add an extra hour-long class, instead of $68 a month, it's only $34 a month. So that's kind of how we balance it out and give back to the people that choose to be enrolled in so many classes. Is we try to build in a discount for y'all so it's not quite as much of a financial burden. We do have a sibling discount, which is pretty cool, I think, especially because we end up with so many siblings because it turns into a full family fun event. And then, okay, so we got our tuition, sibling, routines, and rehearsals. So Power Pack dancers are placed in a select number of groups, duets, or trios based on their level. So for our purposes, groups, duets, and trios are all considered pulling out of the same bucket. And the way that we kind of create those teams is based on class enrollment and desired commitment level throughout the season of how many additional optional events you want to go to. So our goal is to put people together that are on the same trajectory throughout the year. So we are kind of meeting the same milestones as dancers, but also as families, we are putting people together that want to travel the same amount. All of these routines, as I said, will be added into time blocks at the beginning and end of those weekly class times. And then your pack fee is billed on the 15th of the month. And I'll go through that when we get to that section. Okay, so I have a page just with notes about auditions and routine placement. I used to do just a tiny paragraph, but it became really important and apparent that we needed to kind of share even more of what goes into it for a multitude of reasons. So like I said, auditions are held for levels 2 and up. If you are a level 1 dancer that maybe has been recommended to go to level 2 next year, or you're not quite sure, level 1 dancers are still going to be evaluated, but we're not going to have them do the more formal audition experience over the summer. So that happens during our first camp of the summer, the Inferno Intensive. So it's June 2nd through 6th this year. And then our makeup audition, if you are out of town that week, is during the ballet boot camp. So that's August 4th through 8th. But remember my deadline. I don't know if I said it yet. We do need to know if you want to be a member of the Power Pack by June 4th. Excuse me. So even if you're not in town and can't come to the intensive, that's totally fine. Let us know by June 4th that you want to do it, and then we'll confirm and do your formal audition at the ballet boot camp. So what is the audition? Students are taught combinations throughout the week by their guest teachers and teachers they already know and love, and then they come on Friday, ready to go in a professional ensemble. So their hair is pulled back nicely. They're wearing all black. They'll have a number on, and they'll perform those combinations that they've been taught all week long in front of our panel of judges. The panel of judges are the people that taught those routines and have been teaching technique class all week long. So some of them are guests, some of them are like current normal faculty members that they're used to. And remember, this is for placement. It is not for cutting anyone. It's so we can place you in the best grouping for you. Okay. We do not cut anyone. Something that we wanted to point out is that the audition is just part of our placement. So other things we're looking at are class observation of behaviors. So is your dancer actively listening, participating, following the class rules? Do they have consideration for others? Do they have responsibility and drive? We want to make sure that we're putting dancers that have those similar qualities into groupings together. We're also looking at age and developmental level. So your competition age as of January 1st, that's how competitions judge it. So that's how we do it. That is your age. Your emotional and social maturity, your technical progression, your comprehension and coachability. So I've used this example before because, we, believe it or not, are softies too. So we always see the talent in our dancers, and we're so proud of their progress as they're growing up. And I know that parents and grownups, you always see the best in your dancers. So it's natural to want to kind of push them and feel like they always need to be moving up into a higher level. So I've used Lindy as an example before. She's a dancer that trained here when she was younger, and she's now a professional artist at Joffrey in Chicago. But she had to work really hard, but she also was naturally talented. She's a professional. We still, when she was 10 years old, did not have her in classes with 18-year-olds because socially, she's not at that same level. In terms of muscle development, she's not at that same level. So we can assure you that we are doing our best to help your dancer have a long dance career and a long life of health and happiness. We don't want to push anyone up into an older age group too early where they're going to experience burnout. They might be experiencing conversations that aren't right for their age group because high schoolers have different things going on in their lives than 10-year-olds do. So that's a huge, huge factor in it. Yes, of course, technical skills are important, but we can offer a challenge technically in an age appropriate class. So I just really wanted to point that out. That I liked, we heard a quote at Hollywood Vibe this past year of the way she said it was, your studio will never hold back your dancer, but they will hold on to them. And that's because we love your dancer and we want them to be the best they can be for a really long time and not get burnt out or injured or feel upset. So anyway, just a note on that. That's why all of these factors go into placement. So, sorry, I started reading what I wrote down and then I forgot to talk about it. Okay, we put that your class enrollment and optional event registration is a factor in placement. And to answer the question of why, if you're like, does it matter if I take hip hop class or not? Well, yes, it does, because you can't compete in a style that you don't take the class. But we also know from experience and data that if a dancer, two dancers start at the same exact level right now. This dancer is taking 10 classes a week. This dancer is taking 2 classes a week. Same level, same age. We know, it's a fact that the dancer that's training more is going to progress more quickly. So it's up to us as educators to put dancers in an environment where all of the people that are taking 10 classes or ish, it's not going to be an exact science, but the people that are going to progress at the same rate are put together, whether it's a billion classes or a minimum classes. That will help us as the year goes on. So we're able to execute the same skills as the rest of our group mates all the way through the season. And that might mean that we have a goal step that we're all working towards and we finally achieve it in January. That might mean that we achieve that step in October and the whole group has been training so much that we can make it harder and add another rotation to the turn or add a couple 8 counts or something like that. But that's why your class enrollment is important, because we know that repetition and frequency of training affects growth, especially when you're a child. Okay, so that was page 5. Moving on. Oh, this one I'm super excited about. So these are the new things that are happening for 2025 to 2026. We are implementing a swing. So if you're a part of the theater world, you're very familiar with the concept of a swing, but if not, let us share. So a swing is an audience member that learns not an audience member. That would be amazing. I bet some of our siblings could do that. An ensemble member who learns multiple different parts in a routine or a scene and can step in at a moment's notice to execute them. So what does that mean for us here at Dance? That means that we're going to have 1 to 2 dancers in each duet, trio, or group rehearsal that is coming to the rehearsals. They're learning all of the material, and they are available and well equipped to step in at a moment's notice if someone breaks their leg, if someone, is violently ill with the flu, if we unfortunately have to dismiss someone from the team due to attendance. So the swing is prepared. They're ready to step in and save the day. Now, what is the benefit for your dancer? So it's different than just a plain old alternate or understudy. You're not competing for a role. You're not going to, we have 4 people and can only add 1. That's not how that works. You are part of the group. You're coming to all of the rehearsals. You're learning all of the material. You might get your extra little push in a style that you're not as comfortable in yet, or might be able to, one that you are more comfortable, level up a little bit and be included in the training for a higher level routine. So the example I use is, for me, I find tap the most challenging. We have several seniors at the studio that are extremely talented in tap. So if it was kind of that grouping of human beings, I might be the swing for their tap trio. That's just an example. I have no idea how many people are in the dance. But I'm the swing for the tap trio. I'm learning it all year. I'm really mastering those specific skills that are a little bit too hard for me right now. But by the time we get to performance time, I've been so focused on them that I'll be able to do them. And then I have a guarantee that I'm going to be able to perform the dance in the spring recital. So if the trio gets to do all of their normal performances all season long, I don't need to step in and do anything. It becomes a quartet for the spring recital. So I got to be a part of that, experience the rehearsals with them all year, train up so I could execute harder skills that I haven't gotten to yet. And then on the spring recital day, I get to show that off, all of my hard work. So this is an opt-in thing. It's not required, but on the contract, we'll ask people to opt in if they would like to be a swing. The next thing I already mentioned is our inclusive pricing. So monthly tuition is billed on the 1st of the month. Annual routine fees are billed on the 15th of the month, or you can pay in full at the beginning of the year. And we even put in here how we came up with these numbers. We scoured the internet for all of the companies that we typically work with, averaged out their pricing to build our price. And then my note on here is that these are projected costs for right now, and our final amounts will be released with our final tour schedule by August 15th. So much like the rest of the world, the dance community is not immune to this. We're not 100% sure on what tariffs or things like that might do to our costs and prices. So this is our best, most educated information as of today's date. And wherever we are on August 15th, we're committing to it. So even if our costs for me go up, I will not pass that on to customers after August 15th. We're going to commit to that. Financial elements that are not included in your inclusive pricing are routine specific tights and shoes, hair and makeup supplies. Those are all personalized. We're not charging or buying those for you. Hotel and personal travel costs such as gas and food. And then if you choose to do optional events. Things that are included are your costume for each routine, your entry fee for each routine, your faculty fees for each event, your workshop fees for conventions, and your rehearsal fees for the routine. So we tried to really put it all together so you knew exactly how much you were signing up for. And then last thing is we do have required warm-up jackets for levels 2 and up, and we have a Merch Loop store where you can get other fun swag for your dancer, families, and friends. All right, so this is another hugely expanded section. So auditions and attendance, they're the pages that deserved more in our handbook this year because choreographers, parents, and students all asked for more clarification on this. So first thing I wanted to note is that attendance is extremely important in dance. It is not just an individual sport. It is truly a team sport. It is also an art. So if you're focused on the safe execution because you haven't gotten to practice the skills enough with your teammates, there is no way you can tell the story and perform your art correctly. So there's kind of two parts to this. One, missing classes. What does it do for you personally when you miss a class? You're missing the training, the technical progression for yourself. That is a personal impact at first, but when it becomes chronic, it does affect your teammates because you're not progressing at the same rate they are. The second aspect is what happens when you miss a rehearsal. That is an immediate direct effect on your teammates when you miss a rehearsal, particularly as you get older, when there's group work, there's partnering, there's lifts, there are challenging transitions. If you are not there, they cannot practice effectively. So we have different policies and how to make up instructions for each of those situations. You receive 2 school or community activity passes per semester. So that could be your choir concert, back to school night, volunteerism, science fair, whatever you are involved with at school or in your community. We have a lot of people that are super involved in their churches. So we want to make sure it wasn't just school, it's your community, whether it's scouts, things like that. 2 illness events per semester. And it's called an illness event instead of a sick day because there are certain illnesses that I do recognize you have to be out for more than 1 day. We do not want you coming back and getting everyone else sick. So it's an illness event, even if it's 2 days in a row, we totally get it. So once PAC dancers reach their 5th absence mark for any class or rehearsal, they're automatically billed for a 30-minute private lesson. Then the private lessons may be scheduled at the choreographer's discretion. if they are needed. This is what you need to do even for those 4 allowed absences. So this is literally any time. An absence is any time you are not here. This is what you need to do. If you miss a class, you need to attend a makeup class in the same style in an adjacent level within 30 days. So you can go up a level or down a level, but you want to take an adjacent level, same style to make up the class. Remember, that's your technical training. You want to make sure if you missed an entire ballet class, you are coming to another entire ballet class to receive that same ballet training. If you miss a group rehearsal, you need to attend your open studio with a friend to review the material prior to the next group rehearsal. So if you read our grid schedule closely, this is the first one I can find off my mind. There are several open studio blocks built into our schedule that are reserved for dancers to come meet with their friends and go over material together. Now, choreographers may come to those as well to offer some assistance, and they might use that as the private lesson if necessary, but dancers are responsible for learning the material from someone before the next group rehearsal. That's super important. You're always going to email our email address. I couldn't even think of what that word was. So you're always going to email or text us with your absence details and your intended makeup details so we can put it into our system. And then what I am going to do is email out an attendance report to each PAC family each month. So the cool thing about Jackrabbit is that it can show us all sorts of data. So it'll tell us the exact day and time that you told us you were going to be absent. And it can tell us the class that you're missing. We can put in what you did to make it up. So I can see missed ballet 7, came to ballet 8. I can look at your percentage of absences versus here and all sorts of things like that. So I will be sending that out just so you can keep track of it. I think a lot of times once we get in the weeds of the end of semester or just the busy time of year, you sometimes don't notice how often you're missing, but we just really want to remind everyone that it's important to be here. And if the data is right in front of you, hopefully you can be more conscious and more on top of your attendance. So our policy is you must maintain an 80% attendance rate for all classes and rehearsals. If we're not at that, warning will be issued and a 2-week assessment period will begin. If your attendance does not improve, then we may have to dismiss you from PAC. So just trying to be as clear as possible. And the last note on our attendance page is that participation in optional events does not count as excused. So a lot of times we have these events out of town that start on Fridays that it is not a choice to skip all of your Thursday classes in order to leave early to get there on Friday. So I really wanted to make sure I pointed that out because our Thursday classes are getting a huge disservice by people skipping them so often. So that is not an excused absence, or it's not. Anyway, nothing's excused. Just kidding. Just wanted to point that out. Okay. Page 8, communication. It's our number one, I think, skill around here, and hyperfixation. So these are all of the ways that we do communication here at the studio, particularly for PAC members. So monthly newsletters, we do a regular newsletter. We also do a separate PAC newsletter that has PAC specific things. We have our bulletin board here downstairs and upstairs that have announcements. And then you are always encouraged to come to speak to anyone at the desks. We have downstairs desk and upstairs desks. We do fairly regular parent meetings, excuse me, that are held throughout the semester. This past year, our kickoff was a fun field day where the kiddos went and did team bonding and the parents got to have our actual meeting happening, things like that. So those happen regularly throughout the year. We have a fairly active family Facebook group where people post awesome pictures that they got from events. They post if they lost their pair of sweatpants they're looking for. They share if they have extra tickets to a show at the Moss Art Center, all sorts of community things. And that's where we post award kind of summaries and rehearsal reminders and things like that. We also have a required Remind group. So that's what our local school system uses. So that's what we use too. It's Remind. Every single PAC family is required to opt in. And that's where we'll put pertinent, urgent information like, hey, the door on the front of the building is locked, come around to the side door. Or the event is running 30 minutes early, make sure you're here ready to go. Things like that. And then of course you can always email, call, or text us. And then if you need to set up a private meeting, I am always happy to schedule one at a mutually convenient time. I also put on here a note about fundraising because like I said at the very beginning of this video, dance is a big time and financial commitment. Cool thing about us here is that we have, honestly, this was our first year we've had a fundraising committee in a very long time, and they, amongst them, earned over $25,000 that went directly to their accounts to pay for dance. So that's pretty cool. 1 year. So we have had a lot of interest in joining that and beefing it up even more. So I am 100% confident that that number will only continue to grow. So though it's a large commitment, I don't want the financial commitment to dissuade anyone. If you do have concerns, please come talk to me and we can talk through things and look at fundraising, look at if there's an opportunity for scholarships or anything like that. Okay. This is the nitty gritty. I'm not going to read all the details of every single level because y'all are smart people. You can handle it yourselves. But we have level 2 and 3. This is your monthly tuition that's billed on the first of the month. So we have what it includes, your required, and then your optional. Going to 4, they're separated out. Level 4, level 5, level 6, level 7. We added more levels this year, so it's like an extra a lot. Level 8 and level 9. So this section just goes over so you can see it a little bit more. It's your tuition. It says what's included, shows you those required classes, their days and times. And then these are the optional. So like for this one, you get to pick one optional. It's reminding you one optional style is included. Pick one from these days and times. And then remember that you get that 50% discount on any additional optional classes. And remember that ballet is always unlimited. So you are welcome to sign up for as many ballet classes as you would like to attend. We strongly believe in that. Okay, here is where it turns into Power Pack with these annual routine fees. That this is the new inclusive pricing. So I will go over this in a little bit more detail because it's different this year. So this is for Petite. This is levels 2 and 3. This is an add-on to PAC. So everyone is going to do that production routine those 6 times. It's not a choice to skip the production and only do your small group. We're all part of the production together. If you are placed in Petite Power Packs, that's levels 2 and 3, you're also going to be placed in 2 Power Pack groups. So you're going to have your production plus 2 groups. These 2 groups are going to be performed at that company concert. Remember, that's our PAC exclusive recital. Our Roanoke competition that we've already mentioned, world-class talent experience, and then 2 other regional competitions. We do have tentative events that we are planning on attending, but they have not 100% released their dates yet. So they're tentatively on here based on like scrolling back through several years of the average weekends they were in those locations. And then these 2 group routines will also be performed in the spring recital. So 2 Power Pack group routines. Here. Remember, those are placed by our directors after your audition, and those rehearsals will be grouped into one of these before or after class slots within the week. So your projected annual routine fee for this age group includes your 3 costumes, your Roanoke competition, your 2 other competition. Remember, production rehearsal is complimentary, but the other 2 routines you do pay a rehearsal fee. So that's all included. It's $1,350 paid in full or $135 a month. So that is how that's broken down. Our juniors, so level 4, 5, and 6. this is an add-on for this group as well. You have your full company production, and then you'll be placed in 4 Power Pack groups, duets, or trios. So remember, they're all considered coming out of the same bucket here. You might be in 1 duo, 1 trio, and 2 groups. You might be in 4 groups. You might be in 1 duo and 3 groups, but you're gonna be in 4 other dances. Those are performed company concert, Roanoke competition, 2 regional competitions, spring recital. This group, because it's production plus your 4 others, is 5 costumes for your 3 competition events, complimentary production rehearsal, and then your rehearsal fee for your 4 other routines. So you'll see at the bottom here, we have our annual amount, or you can pay your $241 a month. 7, 8, and 9, teens and seniors, it's the same number of routines, but it's different events. That's where there's a difference between our junior and our teen and senior. So your production plus your 4 group duet trio routines, they are performed at company concert, our Roanoke competition, and then teens and seniors are doing 2 conventions instead of 2 competitions. We have absolutely loved the work ethic and how much that our teens and seniors have gotten out of convention events. So we want to keep that going strong. So conventions are 2 usually full days of classes, plus their competition routines also happen, excuse me, on the same weekend. And then those groups, duets, and trios are performed at the spring recital. So that's where there's a difference there. You're doing your 5 costumes, Roanoke competition, 2 conventions, production rehearsal is included, and then your 4 rehearsal fees are included. You'll notice that there is, at conventions, a difference. There are entry fees, travel fees, and workshop fees. So make sure you're cognizant of that, because that's where it gets a bit more expensive, because students are taking classes from titans of the industry. So they always have the most fun with people that they consider to be famous, but I have the most fun taking from people that I know have been in the behind the scenes choreographing some of the most epic performances I've ever seen. So they're getting about 10 classes a weekend from these amazing professionals. So that's why it's a bit more expensive with those convention classes built in. All right, we're here to our optional add-ons. So, as part of the contract, you're going to let us know which optional add-ons you would like to pursue. And just like class enrollment, how we know that you will progress at different rates based on how often you are training, that's our way of accommodating dancers being in the same grouping of the appropriate people. Your optional events are how we can make sure that families are in the same grouping that is the appropriate people to be paired with. So what we mean is, if these, are 6 times doing production plus 2 competitions, that's a lot. Yeah. And if that's enough for you, because you have so many other things going on in your life, like other sports, other kids, travel for work, etc., that's super totally fine. We do not judge in any way, shape, or form. We understand, and you are not alone. And we're going to put you in a grouping of other people that want to do that amount. Now, if there are people that, because these exist as well, where, like I said, multiple siblings dance, it's your thing. Maybe if I ever have kids, dance is my thing. So I, of course, will want to do this all weekend, every weekend with them. We want to put people that want to travel more often together in groupings, so they have the opportunity to do all of those dances at all of those optional events. So both are 100% fine. We truly, truly honor both sides and the full range of how much you want to be involved and how busy you want to be during the spring. But it's important for us to know so we can put dancers together in the appropriate groupings for that. Okay. So first optional is World Class Talent Experience Nationals. That's the Roanoke competition we go to. We go to a convention with this company also in the fall as an optional event. We've grown to love it. So their nationals competition is in Virginia Beach. Easy to get to. It's always the same weekend on the calendar, so it's not published, finalized yet, but I'm fairly certain that it's going to be July 5th through 8th in 2026. And this is a fairly low cost optional event. I would consider it more of a fun family vacation where your kiddo also gets to dance. So it includes masterclass workshops, theme days, there's an extra elite event, and we'll do all eligible routines. The costs are a little bit higher entry fee than at the regional, but there is no extra workshop fee or anything like that. And they actually have, I only have one listed here, but they have 2 hotel blocks that they have already secured for everybody that wants to go to it. So fairly low time and financial additional commitment if you want to do that one. We also have several conventions and competitions that we have curated throughout the season that we wanted to offer, and I'll kind of go through them on our tentative calendar here. But the reason that we came up with a list is because, one, we wanted to make sure they were reputable companies, so we knew the quality that you were getting if you chose to go to it. But 2, there are thousands and thousands of options, but wouldn't it be more enjoyable for dancers and parents if we narrowed down that list a little bit and you got to go with a friend or 2 instead of 10 people going to 10 different events, 10 people going to the same event, or only 2 events? So that's why we have our own list. Now, if you find something else that you're very passionate about, run it by us. If it's appropriate and we know that it's a trustworthy company and it is good for you, we are happy to register your dancer for it. But all these optionals go directly through Dance Tech. We have business accounts with all of these companies, and we're happy to get your kiddo registered. Important thing to note for that is that faculty members will come when they can, but that is not part of our faculty members' contract to attend all of the optional events. So just keep that in mind. And those costs are not factored into our inclusive pricing. So those are where you would be paying a la carte. Next optional add-on is solo routine, and these are available for all levels. So in order to be considered for a solo, you must take 5 different class styles. We offer way more than 5 for most age groups, so that's easy to hit your 5 different class styles, and most people can hit that only coming 2 days a week. So it seems like a lot, but I promise it's not that crazy. One of those classes has to be in the style of your routine. Remember, you can't compete in a style you don't train in. And then we just want to make sure everybody was aware that most of the companies we work with have started putting caps on the amount of solos that we can bring. So we are going to have to put a cap on the amount of solos that we can have at the studio. So that means that we are not able to accommodate 2 solos, and that we are going to be very discerning when awarding solos. So people that have the way I wrote it is the utmost character and commitment to our team will be awarded solos. So if you have awesome attendance, you're a kind classmate, we can tell that you practice at home and want to do your best. At conventions and competitions, we see you standing backstage congratulating and wishing good luck to other people. Those are the people that are deserving of getting solos and that we want to represent us as soloists. So your solo routine, you let us know that you want to do a solo, and then we pair you up with an appropriate choreographer and style. You're going to meet with your faculty member an average of 15 hours a season, and you're going to be able to do this solo at the company concert, the Roanoke competition, and then depending on your level, the other 2 competitions or conventions. So 4 times is your minimum, and of course you're going to get to do it if you sign up for any of these other optional events. We broke this one out into an annual fee as well. It includes your costume, your entry fee, choreography, and rehearsals. We did put a note if you exceed your 15 hours with worth of work with your faculty member. There are private lessons billed in addition to that, but 15 is average for most people for the year, so we don't feel that many people would exceed that. Additional fees for guest choreographers do come into play if you want to work with someone else. So that's on the bottom of page 17. We have a roster of people that actually several of them used to live here in town and taught for us weekly and choreographed for us all the time, but no longer live in the area, but still have great relationships with our dancers. So they are considered guest choreographers. And then we also have some people that come in annually for our over the summer intensives that we've just developed great relationships with that we can utilize for guest choreography as well. So we have 6 people here. We've got Miss Maggie, Sarah Fitch, Natalie Hamilton, Justin Lewis, Dixon, and Malik. Their exact dates that they are available to work with your dancer are listed here, and their additional fee is listed here. So if you want to be considered to work with a guest choreographer, this can be for a solo or a duo trio if that is on your radar. They are able to make that happen. Dancers will learn the material from these guest choreographers in 2 to 4 rehearsals. They must make themselves available to learn the routine on these specific dates when these people are going to be here. So, for example, Mr. Justin lives in Indiana. He's coming for 2 days. He can knock out an awesome tap routine and it's going to be phenomenal, but he's only coming for 2 days. He's not going to be traveling back and forth all year long. Once completed, these routines are assigned to an in-house faculty member. So that in-house teacher, whether it's me or any of our other awesome faculty members, they rehearse the routine for the duration of the season. So it's kind of handed off like a relay, and now it's in our camp, and we do work with the choreographer that has left. We'll send videos and notes back and forth, but it is in our hands, and we are authorized to make any changes that need to be done in order to best suit the dancer. So if you gain a skill throughout the season, or if you had something that you were really hoping to get, but it's just not feeling comfortable, we are totally in communication with that guest artist and authorized to make some changes. We're going to be the ones that rehearse your dancer at the competitions before they go on stage and meet with them weekly throughout the year. All right, here is our tentative calendar. I'm Looney Tunes, I think. No, I just get really excited about planning. So this is broken up starting in August 2025 and goes all the way through July 2026. Our left column are our required events, and then our right column are optional events. So we already, have our first day of classes and rehearsals. I included our Nutcracker in studio rehearsals. We know that we're going to have a Virginia Tech and or Radford basketball game in December or January. I put our tentative dates for World Class Talent Experience and our company concert, some of the conventions and competitions that we are considering, our spring recital, and our Inferno intensive. So that's in the required column. In our optional column, we have our stepping out performances, things like the Home Builders Association bed build, the holiday parade in Blacksburg. So there's a whole list there of optional events. Italicized dates have not yet been released on this list, but if they are not italicized, we already know that the date is confirmed. And then just like pricing, we will confirm by August 15th. So all of these companies will have these finalized by August 15th. Now, the rest of this handbook is I'm not going to bore you by reading it because y'all are all smart people. Once again, I will say this goes over costuming, packing, our hairstyle, and just best practices for going into a season so you know what to expect. We include things like knowing that competition events begin as early as 3 on Fridays, while conventions begin as early as 7 a.m. on Fridays. We include our expectations for how dancers and families are going to behave while at these events representing our studio. But the one, page 21, is the one that I wanted to touch on a couple things. See, I got my highlights here. That's just different than a recital. So if you have not done a competition or alternate performance situation before, competitions and conventions are a bit different. You need to get there 2 hours early because they're notorious for running early. And there's things that you need to do once you get there. So you should arrive 2 hours early with your hair and your makeup done. I can highly advise not lugging all your stuff with you and then doing your hair and makeup. It's hot, there's bad lighting, just don't do it. Just get ready in front of your own bathroom mirror or the bathroom mirror in the hotel. That will save you a lot of stress and strife. So you're gonna get there 2 hours early. And then dancers get themselves all settled. They're gonna watch their teammates. We do not allow iPads or other devices for dancers to be hiding in the dressing room looking at. We need to be interacting with our teammates. And the main difference is parents are responsible for their kiddos the whole time. So it's different than dropping them off at a dressing room and then there are volunteer monitors. Parents are in charge of their dancers. We do have a set warm-up video that they can follow along. They should watch routines. And then there is a set time we're all going to meet as a group and practice together. So that's kind of the main difference. And if you have questions, I highly suggest asking a parent of a competitor because they can give their parental perspective. My perspective from a teacher is that this season we brought 56 routines. So if there's 56 routines in 2 days, we are hustling, running back and forth, and we need to know where your dancer is, and we need to know that your dancer is ready to go when it's their time. There are free live streaming services for 90% of these competition and convention events that we go to, which is really great because that means that people that don't live close by can see your dancer shine on stage all 50 billion times that they're going to perform this year. So we're excited about that. And then the last note about kind of our philosophy and how we work at competitions and conventions is that we do gentle reminders and light coaching. We do not do intense feedback or corrections or anything like that as staff members, and we have that same expectation of our parents. All of us, our role is to build up dancers at these events. When we come home and have our next rehearsal, we'll go over their we get a critique tape straight from the judges. We'll go over that feedback with them. But at the venue and at the event is not the time to, be fussing at people, berating them, giving them a hard time. It's our job to be their cheerleader. So that is our expectation of teachers and parents. Last page here. Awards, what you really need to know if you are not part of the dance world is that they are subjective and that each company has their own rating system. So yes, there is a rubric, but I think the example I used the other day, okay, I got cut off by the back. Okay, so in their rubric, it'll be like showmanship for 25 points instead of this is a triple Lutz, this is the difficulty level. If you execute it, you get this many points. If you fall, you don't get those points. So it's very different from a lot of other sports that people are familiar with. And my husband plays golf, so I kind of equate it most to that. It's like you go out and you do your absolute personal best, and you hope that your personal best is better than the other people's. And that's kind of where you see that winning or achievement. But for us at the studio, we don't focus on the awards. Those are secondary to the experience that's gained there. So basically what I'm saying is if you find it confusing, so does everyone else. I think I said I've been in the competition world for over 25 years and I still sometimes don't understand what they're talking about every once in a while because one company will have a star rating, one company will use palladium, one company says crystal. So it's subjective. Don't focus on that too much. You can do the research and all of their information is online for all of these companies. And then last but not least, that I just wanted to highlight, there's a lot more information, but we utilize buddy system here at Dance Tech. So we have buddy bunches. So instead of just one pairing, it's 3 people. And there's at least one veteran in each of those. And for the dancers, the really important part is the camaraderie, what they learn from each other, how they support each other, cheer each other on. They write, good luck notes, or even if they're in the car and can't watch in person at the competition, they'll watch the live stream and send a text. Hey, you did so awesome on your group. Like, that's my favorite one this year. So that's the support for the kiddos, but it's equally as important for the parents. And that's why we pair up a veteran with newbies or veterans with a newbie, because that person really is your resource when you have questions from the parent perspective. I can go over all the details you could possibly want in terms of logistics, in terms of navigating the challenges of preteen dynamics and things like that based on my experience, but other parents are your number one resource when it comes to parenting aspect. All right, last but not least, this is our contract, and hopefully based on all the other things you've heard from us, this will not be a surprise, but dancers sign this, parents sign this, and I sign this, and basically we're all agreeing to a certain standard of respect, not only for ourselves, but for every individual on the team and the team as a whole. So we do have each person sign this, and then our QR code is new this year, and I printed it out so I could just talk you through. This is the online contract. Our accounts manager does not work in-house, so having this digitally is going to be really helpful, but this is where we also wanted to expand that, making sure people 100% understood everything they were signing up for. So it's pretty simple. It starts with your dancer profile, their name, their competition age, remember is January 1st, their grade, contact information, medical information. Most important thing in this section is question number 9. It's always been there, but people don't utilize it as much as I wish they would, which is that our tentative calendar has already been distributed, but the final calendar is done by August 15th. So if you have a date that you already know you're going to have a major conflict, like field hockey state championships are always the 3rd weekend of November every single year, no matter what, we need to know that so we don't schedule something on that weekend for you. And it's not a 100% guarantee, but like I said, there are thousands of options for dance events. So if we can make an accommodation, we absolutely will, because we want to be able to offer all of our dancers the opportunity to perform. So if you already know something, please, please, please list it there so we can accommodate you. The next section is about class enrollment. So this is where you're going to let us know the classes that you intend to take. Remember, this is important because we know that the frequency that you train affects your growth throughout the year. You're acknowledging that you're answering that to the best of your ability at the time. Next up, outside summer training. This is a twofold. One, if you have an awesome experience or a not so awesome experience with your outside summer training, we need to know that because we can pass on the referral to other dancers or gently guide them away from that opportunity if you felt like it was a bad experience. But also because, just like we said, 2 months is a long time. If you're doing the bare minimum over the summer, we can expect a certain level of progression. If your dancer is signed up for 3 intensives over the summer, plus every possible class, we can expect a different level of progression between June and August. So that's why we want to know that. Next section, which company you're choosing to do, billing and other things. So you're going to let us know if you're doing PAC or Power Pack. And then if you're doing PAC, you're just acknowledging the time and monetary commitment. Power Pack, time and monetary commitment is just reiterated. So you have to read it and check the box that you understand that's what you're signing up for. You're going to let us know if you would like to opt in as a swing. You're going to let us know if you're a Power Pack dancer, if you want to do these annual routines payments in full or monthly. If you're a duet trio performer, you're going to let us know if you would like to be considered for a guest artist. And then the next section is our optional events. So we reiterated that we do not expect people to go to all 5 billion of these at all. We're just curating a list so people have more likelihood to go with a friend, okay? So if you are interested in World Class Talent Experience Nationals, you're going to let us know, and then you're going to check all that apply. If something happens and one of the dates doesn't work for you anymore, no big deal. We promise you won't get in trouble, but we can tell a difference that if you have 90% of these boxes checked, you should be in a group with other people that have 90% of these boxes checked. If you have one of them checked, you should be grouped with people that have one of them checked. That's the purpose of this here. You're going to let us know if you would like to be considered for a solo routine. And then if you would like to be considered for a guest choreographer for your solo routine, and then your payment plan for your solo. So that's kind of the online capturing all of the above. This was my note for myself, so I wouldn't forget. So remember that we are accepting PAC members through the end of the summer, because that is, all of the above. Everyone is included in the same exact routine. It's grouped into different sections based on your level, but we can easily add people in through our first rehearsal in August. Power Pack members need to let us know by June 4th. Remember, if you are unable to come that week, it is not the end of the world, but we do need to know your plan, that you do intend on participating, so that we can make the most educated decision in terms of group placement and class placement for you. So hopefully all of that makes sense. It's a little bit different this season in years past, but like I shared at the beginning, we had some very, very clear goals and priorities that we wanted to incorporate this year. And we worked really hard to kind of, brought in a meeting of all the minds of students and parents and teachers and people from other studios that we know, other competition team directors, to really come up with what we feel like is our just right fit for this year. So thanks so much for listening. Remember, you can always email info@dance-tech.com with any questions, call or text 540-961-6666. Thanks. Have a great day.